Hi, this is lesson 9.5, and we are going to be talking about the difference between centimeters and meters. 1 meter is the same as 100 centimeters. Okay, this is very similar to inches and yards. Okay, so a meter is just a little bit longer than a yard. Okay. The real door is about 200 centimeters tall. The real door is also about 2 meters tall. So 2 meter sticks is about how tall the door is. Okay, I just kind of want you to visualize that. Um, if you look at your ruler, you can see that there are 30 centimeters in a ruler. Okay, 3 rulers in inches equals a yard, but we have 3 rulers in centimeters is 30 plus 30 plus 30, which is 90, and a meter stick is 100 centimeters, so it's a little bit longer than a yard. Okay, so we are just going, since we're not together and I cannot show you, we can't actually measure these things because you don't have a meter stick at home. We're just going to talk about these objects and think about whether it would be smarter to measure it in centimeters or meters. So if we could measure it with our ruler um, in centimeters, or if we needed a bigger meter stick to measure it. So a chair. Think in your head whether you would use a ruler to measure it in centimeters or if you would use a meter stick. Sorry, I'm trying to get my pen ready. Okay, so here we go. I got the pen that I wanted. I would use a meter stick for that. Because a chair is kind of big and we would have to use a couple or a few rulers to measure that chair. How about the length of the teacher's desk? Okay, again, I would probably use a meter stick. And a wall, definitely a meter stick. Now, looking back at the chair, depending how big the chair is, a meter stick may be too long to measure that. And maybe we would just need a couple rulers, 2 or 3 rulers to measure a chair. Okay, so we are going to move on to the next slide. And with a chalkboard, depending on how big the chalkboard is, I'm thinking of our whiteboard where we write our agenda, where we have our everything to the right of the smartboard. Here you could probably use either one. I would probably do, I'd probably just use my ruler to measure that, just depending on how big it is. A bookshelf, once again, depending on how big it is. I'm thinking of where we keep our books below the window, and I would probably just use a couple rulers to measure the length of that. And then a table. I'm thinking of the writing table, and I'd probably put a meter stick to that and measure that with a meter stick. The smaller the objects are, If they're small, I'd use a ruler and use centimeters. If it's a bigger object that I'm measuring, I would use a meter stick. Okay, now let's go here. All right, so a bench. It says 2. Is a bench going to be 2 itty bitty centimeters, or is it going to be 2 meters? I believe it's going to be meters. Okay. A pencil. Can you measure that with your ruler in centimeters? Would it be about 15 centimeters or 15 meters? Big long sticks. No. A pencil is not going to be 15 big long sticks. It's going to be 15 centimeters that you can measure with your ruler. A paper clip, 3 centimeters or 3 meters? Okay, not 3 big long sticks. It's going to be 3 centimeters that you can measure with your ruler. A bed, now that's probably going to be 3 meters, 3 long sticks. It's not going to, a bed is not going to be 3 itty bitty centimeters. Okay. All right. So moving right along here. Oopsies, sorry guys. Last one. Okay, Mr. Ryan walked next to a barn and he wants to measure the length of the barn. Now, barns are big, aren't they? Would the length be a greater number of centimeters or a greater number of meters? Now, remember, there are 100 centimeters in 1 meter. So if I'm counting meters, I would count like 1 meter, 2 meters, 3 meters, 4 meters, 5 meters. So if it was 5 big long sticks, it would be 5 meters, but it would be 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 centimeters. So the number of centimeters is going to be bigger because I'm going to type that down. Would be bigger. I'm going to put BC because there are 100 centimeters in 1 meter. Okay. Well, that is all for right now. If you want to hit next, you can go to your practice problems and practice doing some of these on your own, since all you could do was watch me here. So let's get a little bit of practice, and I will see you in the next lesson.